Welcome to Let's Talk, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today we will be addressing one of the more topical questions we get from students about how we mark and grade your papers. Today we have two of our experts on the subject. We have Dianne Medford, Manager Examinations Administration and Security Division, and Benita Byer-Bowen, Manager Examinations Development and Production Department. Now, we receive thousands and thousands of scripts a year from candidates all over the region, and every script needs the correct mark so that everybody gets the correct grade. Some exams are marked on paper, and some, such as multiple choice exams, are marked automatically by a computer. But for any exam, every student's work is marked in the same way. So, Dianne, let's start with you. Tell us what happens between the time candidates complete their exams and their scripts are submitted for grading.
Well, first of all, you mentioned that some exams are marked on paper, and recently we have been moving towards electronic marking, so there are very few scripts that are actually marked on paper now.
Okay.
For the electronic marking, the scripts that the candidates submit, they are scanned at a scanning company, and the scanned images are marked by content specialists recruited by CXC to mark those scripts.
Okay, easy. So CXC examiners are teachers or experts in their subject, and they're carefully selected and trained. It is vital that they all mark to the same standards so that we can award the right mark to every candidate every time. After all the marking has been done, we set the grades. So Benita, can you explain to our viewers what determines a final grade?
Sure. CXC assigns grades based on profile performance at CSEC and module performance at CAPE. Each subject has grade descriptors that are used to determine the minimum acceptable score at each profile or each module. For instance, for CSEC Economics, a grade A candidate is expected to demonstrate outstanding ability to apply economic concepts and principles, while a grade B candidate just demonstrates a good ability to apply economic concepts and principles. The total scores of the profiles determine the composite score and hence the composite grade, which is the number from 1 to 3. However, there are restrictions to the grade that could be awarded. For instance, at grade 1, a combination of profile grades A, B, and C can be used. Grades D, E, and F are not allowed or permitted at grade 1, so there are some restrictions.
Okay, so once the grade boundaries have been agreed, we apply them to your marks and we give you a grade. Benita, how is it possible then for a candidate with the same profile grades to be awarded different grades?
That's a question that we get from time to time, and the easiest answer is that the profile and module grades are a range of scores. So for instance, an A grade has a range and a B grade has a range, its own range. It is possible, however, for a candidate to get a very low A grade, a very low score in A, and another candidate to get perhaps 2 high B scores. And remember, we said that the composite score is a sum of the profile scores. So if you have a very low A and 2 high Bs, it could overshadow your final composite score. So that is possible.
Okay. So Dianne, over to you. How can students access their grades after they have taken their exams?
Well, after the exams have been sat and we have marked them and we have gone through the approval process, the awards committee has reviewed the grades and so on, then we will issue the grades to candidates, and that's first done via the online registration system, the ORS, through the student portal. You would use your candidate ID number and certain specific information to access them. Also, after that process, they are emailed, your preliminary result slips are mailed to the local registrars, the ministries in your territory, and they will then issue them to the schools for you to collect them.
Okay, so what if I wanted to get my grades reviewed? What is the review process?
Well, there is a review process. For example, if you have been awarded a grade and you think that you should have done much better, quite a few candidates, sometimes think that, and sometimes the teachers also will impress on them that they think maybe that they should ask for a review. That's done by the ORS, the online registration system. So if you are a private candidate, you would approach the Ministry of Education or the institution at which you registered. If you are a school candidate, you would go to your school you would indicate to them that you want to have a review done. And the cost of a review per subject is 60 Barbados dollars. And the secretary or administrator at your school would submit that information via the ORS to us, and then we would process that review. Now, there has been a change in our policy with reviews. Before, as long as you ask for a review, we would send it off to the chief to be remarked. Now we go through a process where we do what is called an administrative check, where we go through everything that you've done, check to ensure that all your papers have been marked, all of your scores have been tallied correctly and things like that. And through that process, we then determine whether or not there would be a second process, which is the remark by the chief examiner. The information on the outcome of the review is entered into the ORS system and is then available at the school or at the ministry where you can get the information.
So it's clear that we carry out an extensive quality checks before we issue the results or the review process, after the review process.
Yes, we do.
So tell us more about the process for querying results.
Right. And sometimes people confuse these two. The query relates to a situation where you were not awarded a grade. For example, sometimes there are candidates who receive an absent report, and they would say, well, I've been present at the examination, why am I absent? And or candidates who were ungraded for a subject. Those candidates would submit what is called a query. You do not have to pay for a query. The process is the same. You would go to the Ministry of Education if you were a private candidate, or to the school if you were a school candidate, and you would indicate that you are querying this. If it is an absent query, we always require that you submit the slip, your receipt, which you would receive in the examination room, and that would be submitted and scanned and uploaded. So you would still retain the copy, in case of anything. And those queries would come to us, and we would check to see what has happened. And we will respond as well to those queries via the ORS.
Okay, so short and sweet. I hope that what we learned today was insightful and helped with your questions about marking and grading. I would like to thank both ladies for joining us today and explaining the process. If you have any questions, want any more information, or have feedback for us, please be sure to reach out to us on our website at www.cxc.org or on any of our social media sites. We're everywhere and available to help you. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Until next time, continue to plug into success.